Namaskaram. My name is Debbie Ganguli Patel. I am a Bharatanatyam dance artist and teacher, and I'm based in Milton Keynes. I'm going to speak to you today about my journey. It's a really great opportunity to talk to you about how I got into dance and how I got to where I am today. And that's purely thanks to Sanjay Sahaji and Jaimini Sahaji for this initiative through Kashi Arts and Aradhana Arts. I've had the chance to listen to some of my very close friends and colleagues speaking about their journey, and it's inspired me to share mine. So thank you so much, Sanjay ji and Jaimini ji, for the opportunity to talk to the audience today. My journey in Bharatanatyam started quite early on. I was quite young, probably around 5 or 6, I want to say. I was learning from a local teacher, a local young lady, Indra Tyagaraja, whose father was a doctor locally. My father was also a doctor, so that's how I probably ended up in the class, because they would have talked about it as colleagues. Indra Didi was a senior student of Chitaleka Bolas, and I remember distinctly going to the Woughton leisure centre, because it was done out in the leisure centre, and her being quite strict about Aramandi, and I remember doing Taktadavu. In fact, I distinctly remember doing the 5th Taktadavu. For some reason that comes to mind when I think about her classes, and learning Natadavu. But I don't remember going much further than that, because Didi got married and then she left. So I think that sort of brought my early dancing to an end. But I always like to acknowledge the fact that I had the opportunity because she was teaching. I also got the opportunity to watch her perform, and I hadn't realised until recently that when she did that performance with live musicians, Chitlakaka was doing the Natuvangam, and it's only when I found some photographs of that event in my late mother's belongings that I was able to remember that, and I recently shared that with Chitlakaka. So that was quite lovely that I'd had that very early exposure to one of the pioneers of dance in the UK. It wasn't until I was about 10 years old that I danced again. The local Asian community had started a Hindu association. Again, very early days. There were not very many Indians in Milton Keynes. When I was at school, I was probably one of the only Asians or Indian kids at school. So the Hindu association decided to bring a lady called Sheila Sridhar to the UK for a very short workshop. It was like 5 or 6 weeks workshop and performances, and my mum and dad enrolled myself and my sister Dia. So I would have been about 10, Dia probably would have been about 6 or 7 by then, and by the end of it we were totally in love with dance. We were in love with Bharatanatyam. It had given us a purpose, it had given us an identity in a town where there was very few people that looked like us. Here we were in a class full of Indian kids with an Indian teacher learning about our culture. And I think what also got us was the link that Bharatanatyam has to mythology and history, and all of that just made us feel like, okay, this is us. This is where we belong. You know, we have an identity. My father had a saying. It's a saying that came many, many years later, and I think the saying came alongside his good friend Mathurji from the Bhavan. He used to say that we were like little plants planted in foreign soil, and that we should take the goodness from the soil around us but never forget our roots. And I think this is what Bharatanatyam was about. It was about reaching out for our roots. And I don't know, had it been Kathak, maybe we would have ended up doing Kathak. Had it been Odissi, maybe we would end up being Odissi. But as it happened, it was Bharatanatyam that we ended up doing. At the time when I was doing this, I also was learning dance at school. So I've always loved dance, and I was doing ballroom and Latin American at school, and I had taken a little bit of ballet as well. But in ballroom and Latin, I actually got to about silver, I think, in the ISTD. So I'd already taken like 3 or 4 sets of exams. So I wanted to dance. I had a thing for dance and rhythm and music, and but then to find that in your own culture was just, you know, brilliant. It was just everything for us. Sheila Didi, before she left for India, urged my parents to take us to dance teachers, to a Bharatanatyam teacher. She said, look, you're going to have to travel, but you need to find a teacher that they can work with. And back then, local to us, we had the opportunity of either Chitraleka Bola in Birmingham, we could go to Pushkala Didi in East London, or we could go to the Bhavan. I'd had some experience of seeing Pushkala Aunty dance as well, because we'd watched Mowgli. Mowgli had come to Milton Keynes, and again, I was probably around the age of 9 or 10 when I watched that. Once again, that was in Woofton. I think Woofton Arts Centre was very sort of culturally diverse back then in the 80s. And I've seen Pushkala Aunty, Unni Krishnanji and Akram Khan dancing there. And again, I really wanted to perform. And I think at that point, my parents did have a conversation with Pushkala Aunty, but we found the distance was going to be too far to East London. So they decided to bring me to Bhavan. So I remember distinctly the first day that I went to the Bhavan. It was during the summer school. So I think Shilaka just left, and we went to meet with Guruji in the Hathi Hall. And straight away when I walked into the Hathi Hall, when I walked into the Bhavan, just the whole feeling of the Bhavan, the sounds, the smells, the people walking around, the musical instruments, all of that, I was just like mesmerised by this place. Walked into the Hathi Hall, and Guruji was teaching the summer school that year. He was teaching Dhanasri Dillana. And just looking around the Hathi Hall at all the pictures of the various deities on the wall, I just thought, wow, I want to be here. I want to learn here. And so I sat down with my mum and my sister, and we were watching Guruji's class. He's teaching Dhanasri Dillana. And looking back on it, in that class were my, not too senior to me, they're not that much older than me, but my senior dance friends, Subha Subramaniam, Veena Rampal, and Geeta Kambo, Nina Rajani's sister, and I think Nina Didi also, Mirappa, beautiful dancer, and they were dancing, they were learning Dhanasri Dillana, and I was like, I want to be like them, I want to be like them, I want to dance like them. So I was just inspired. The Bhavan just inspired me straight away. So Guruji then, when he finished class, he called us over and he said, well, what have you learnt? What have you learnt to dance? And I don't know how, but Sheila Didi had taught me Alaripu in 5 weeks. Shamedly, probably the worst Alaripu I could have ever performed, but I did the Alaripu for Guruji. I said, I'm going to do Alaripu for you. So I did Alaripu. Guruji kind of looked at me and said, okay, that needs a bit of improvement, but fine. And he said to Ma, bring them both to class, put them in the first year, but please be aware that you're going to have to travel to Bhavan every Saturday, every Sunday. They're going to have to do singing. It's going to be a long day. You're coming from Milton Keynes. Can you dedicate to that? Can you put the time in? And my parents, no hesitation. Yes, no problem at all. We will take them. And we're talking about, my father was a very busy GP, single-handed GP. And straight away, with no hesitation, that's fine. I'll take them. We'll take them. So we started going to the Bhavan from the September. Very quickly, probably about a couple of weeks into class, Guruji said to my mum, said to Ma, Bhabi, he used to call my mum Bhabi, could you please bring Debbie to first year and second year? Let her finish both years, first and second year together, and then third year she can do after that. So I got sort of expedited through my diploma, taking the first and the second year simultaneously, and then third year after that. And my sister was just a year below me. I loved it. I loved learning from Guruji. Even to this day, if I need anything, I go back to Guruji. And Shiv Shakti Aunty, what a joy to learn singing from her, and I miss her dearly. She's a wonderful teacher and very encouraging. So I did my diploma in dance, and we started about sort of mid to late 80s, and by the early 90s, Guruji was talking about my Arangetram. So in 93, September of 93, I gave my debut performance on the Bhavan stage. And again, really grateful to Guruji for that opportunity, because it is, now as a teacher, I understand more than I did back then, that it is a huge responsibility to put someone through their Arangetram. And not just that, they're putting a lot of faith in that student. to be able to achieve the standard to perform a full margam, full performance in front of an audience. You're putting a lot of faith and into the student, and you know, I'm really grateful that he put that faith in me. I'm also very lucky that at that point Shiv Shakti Aunty was still singing, so I was accompanied by, I couldn't have asked for better set of accompanying artists. I had Shiv Shakti Aunty singing for me, I had Chandrasekhar ji on the violin, Bhavani Shankar ji on the mridangam, my own Guruji obviously there with Natuvangam supporting me the whole way through, and one of my very, very good friends, Devaki Gyanananda, who was playing Veena for me, and one of Auntie's senior students was on Dampura. And I remember the months leading up to my Arangetram, because it was between the lower six and the upper six. I literally spent the whole summer in the bhavan. I mean, I used to spend every summer in the bhavan anyway. After term finished, I did every single summer school. My parents sacrificed so much. They sacrificed their time. They sacrificed time together so that we could learn dance. And my mum used to stay with us in London for 3-4 weeks while we did summer school every year. And my dad used to come after work sometimes, after surgery, or he would come on the weekend and stay with us. Nanda uncle very kindly used to give us a room in the bhavan. So, you know, my parents really sacrificed a lot for us to learn to dance. And then, of course, they happily agreed for me to do my Arangetram. And Guruji gave me a lot of freedom in my Arangetram. So when I did my Varnam, my central piece, the Sanchari Bhavas, the Abhinayas, he said to me, just keep going. As long as you want to go, just keep going. When you're ready to stop, just look at Bhavaniji and we'll carry on with the next stanza, the next bit. So he just gave me that freedom, and my Varnam, I think in the end was about an hour and a half, because on the day I just kept going, and we were so in sync, and they were such great musicians that, you know, they just picked up on every cue, and I picked up on every cue they gave me because they gave such easy cues. You know, I just really enjoyed that whole time. You know, looking back on it, I think that was just like the epitome, you know, of everything for me. I just enjoyed doing my Arangetram, loved it. I really, really wanted to, after A-levels, go to India. I really wanted to, in fact, Chitra Visheshwaranji had said if I wanted to come to her, I could have done. Unfortunately, very soon after my Arangetram, my parents and I were involved in, and my sister, we were involved in a car accident, and it left my mum immobile. She was unable to move, and she deteriorated and became disabled at that point. So she was in the hospital in Oxford for many, many months during my upper six, and unfortunately that led to me not quite getting the A-level grades I would need. I wanted to study medicine. I wanted to take a gap year and go to India and then come back and take on medicine, and I didn't get the grades. So the idea of taking a gap year and going to India, unfortunately, didn't happen. And I ended up resitting my A-levels. And again, my parents, you know, they put everything behind me, like, you can get these A-levels, just redo them. So I redid my A-levels. I took 2 years. I took 1 year to do my A-levels, and I took another year because I wasn't sure about medicine. I had a place to study medicine, but I wasn't totally convinced that's what I wanted to do. So I actually worked as a dental nurse for a year. During that time, I still continued dancing because I was living in Ealing, away from my parents. And I would go up to Bhavan. Bhavan was very close at that point, so I'd go up to Bhavan and still learn to dance there. I gained entry at Guy's, well, it was back then called United Medical Dental Schools of Guy's and St Thomas's. So I was on Guy's campus. I got into Guy's Hospital in 96 and started my dental degree. So I decided to study dentistry. Started dentistry, continued to dance, but as things happen, you get really busy. I mean, dental school is very, medical school is very, very demanding. You get very few holidays as a dental student. You are pretty much there after the first year, most of the year, finishing sort of for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks in August, and then you're back in September again. You're seeing patients from year 2, you're managing your own diaries. So I was dancing less and less, unfortunately. After qualifying, so I met my husband when I was at university. I got married in the first year, or just the first year after. So I'd worked for 1 year, I think, as a dentist in Northampton. So I'd moved back to Milton Keynes. My husband happened to get a job at the Open University, and we got married in the July of 2002. And he, again, I cannot ask for a better partner in life. And I sometimes think my parents and my Guruji all love him better than they love me. But basically, he was so supportive about my dancing. So I returned to dance, but it wasn't until I lost my father, sadly. So my father passed away in September of 2003. I'd been married a year and a bit. I was working in maxillofacial in the Stevenage Hospital at Lister. And within a month into my job, my dad had passed away. And I think my world just collapsed around me, because he was like this pillar, and we'd lost this pillar. My mum often used to say that Hiran, my husband, it was good that he was there, because he was like a little 5th pillar. So there was 4 pillars in my house: mum, me, my dad, and my sister Dia. And then my husband Hiran was this 5th pillar in the middle. And she said if we hadn't had Hiran, and if we hadn't all stuck together, we'd have toppled. Because my father passed away very suddenly of a heart attack, and he was just 65 years old. So I don't think I wanted to dance at that point. I just kind of wanted to just get through the day, just working. But my sister was dancing. In fact, one of the last things my dad got to do was watch my sister on stage at Bhavan's, not Founders Day, but I think it might have been Independence Day or something, because my father passed away in September. So it was an August performance. It might have even been summer school, but one of the last things he got to watch was my sister a couple of weeks ago, before he passed, dancing. I think that brought him great joy. Great happiness to watch her dancing. I can't remember what piece she did. I'm sure she'll remember. So at this point, Dia hadn't done her Arangetram, and Mum spoke to Guruji, and Guruji said, yeah, Dia should do her Arangetram. And dedicated to my father, she then started working on her Arangetram, and I started dancing again. I went back because I was up there helping her, so I started dancing again. And we went to get her costumes in the December of 2004. And when I returned from India, I discovered that I was carrying Ishani, my daughter. So I carried on dancing for a bit, but unfortunately it was a little bit of a high-risk pregnancy, as I had gestational diabetes during the pregnancy, and I was told not to dance at that point, so I had to stop for a bit. So by this time I'm sort of about 27, 28, something like that. And Dia had Arangetram, which was wonderful and beautifully dedicated to Dad. And after Ishani was born, because Ishani was born in August 2005, I took her to meet Guruji and Auntie as well, and I started to dance again. Not every weekend, it's difficult with a baby, and I also had work as well. I was working for the community dental services as a special needs dentist. So it was difficult to do, dance and have a newborn baby, and dancing in London. I'm still living in Milton Keynes, of course. But I started to dance, and then unfortunately I had to stop again because I had another pregnancy when Ishani was about 2, and I had a miscarriage, and then I had 2 subsequent miscarriages, and by this time I was told I probably won't have any other children. So I decided to buy a practice. So in 2010, I bought my dental practice, Cherry Trees Dental in Leighton Buzzard. So this time I'm now running a practice with a young child, 5-year-old daughter, and I fall pregnant again for the 5th time. And my consultant threw everything at this pregnancy. You're not allowed to dance. You have to, just be careful, don't do anything. Aspirin, insulin, you name it, because I was a diabetic again. And in October of 2010, my son Shreyan was born. So many years then passed. I didn't dance. I had my practice. I was too busy running the practice, trying to manage a baby, trying to manage a child, looking after my mum, who was always quite ill after our, accidents when we were younger, and what led her to be ill back then had always been there in the background. And Ishani gets to age 6, 7. And I think it's time for her to dance. She needs to learn to dance. And as with any child, they never learn from their mother. I did try. So I thought, and I spoke to my husband, and this is where I'm so happy that I've got this wonderful, supportive husband as well. He said, come on, we'll take her to Boven. You went to Boven. My mum said, that's the best place to go. So off we went to Boven. And my daughter Ishani also took the diploma and post-diploma at Boven in Bharatanatyam dance. She's also a disciple of Prakash Yadagude, so Guruji is also her guru. And when she went to dance, initially she started off with Parvati Auntie, Parvati Naya, who teaches at the Boven, for a couple of years. And then I started going back to class. And then when Ishani took her diploma, I basically, at the back of the class, redid my diploma with her. Albeit 2.5 stone heavier than I was when I had her, and I'd never got rid of the weight. So I was dancing, this would be if she was about 8 years old, wasn't she? So 2013 or 14 possibly she started her diploma. So I started dancing the diploma, and at the end of her diploma, and I was very patient about it, I didn't do any performances. It came to 2016, and Ishani was going to get her first diploma, the initial one, and Guruji said, you dance. I'm like, are you sure, Guruji? Yeah, you dance. You go on stage, you dance. It was Behag Dilana, Balamurali Krishna Sir's music, and I danced with my daughter on her graduation ceremony in 2016. 2016 or 2015, it might have been 2015. And that's when Guruji said to me, why are you not teaching? You love dancing. And I used to actually teach before. I used to help him because Bhavan had outreach classes in Milton Keynes that I used to assist Guruji with. And when I was a 17, 18-year-old, I had some classes. I had 5 or 6 students that I used to teach. And I've always enjoyed helping at the Bhavan whenever he lets students help. So I like that. So he said, why don't you teach? And at that time, I was working in practice just before I bought my practice with a really nice lady, a dentist who was working as a nurse, Rama Dharmavaran, and her daughter Ananya was born just before my son, and she would have been about 6 years old, and she asked me to teach her. So I started my class with my daughter and Ananya Pyaraka, Ramya's daughter, in my front hall, in my living room in 2017. Sorry, that would be 2016, beg your pardon, 2016. And then come 2017, with the encouragement of Guruji, Auntie Shivashakti and my mum, I started hiring a hall in Milton Keynes, and that's when I started Satyam dance, named for my father, Satyabrata Ganguli, and I started to teach Bharatanatyam once a week. By the time I started it was a challenge because I still had my dental practice, I had the kids, obviously, I was looking after my mum, and by this time I was full-blown diabetic, so I'm actually a type 2 diabetic. So it was a challenge, trying to manage all of that, early diabetes, controlling your sugars, all of this stuff is going on in the background, but I had so much support, I had so much encouragement from Guruji, from Auntie, from Mum, from Ramya, my first dance parent, and from my husband, from Hiran. And the support, that my mum would look after the kids while I was teaching. In fact, she'd come to the classes sometimes as well. So I started the classes, and it's now nearly 7 years. This September will be 7 years since I started classes, and I've gone from one student to teaching once a week in a hall, to now teaching 5 classes a week plus rehearsals on the weekend, with at the most I've had nearly 50 students, and it's amazing, and the ISTD have been amazing as well, because I got my ISTD accreditation, so I'm fully accredited as a teacher with the ISTD, was grandfathered on with references from Guruji and Auntie, and also I've just been given the APEL, so I've been accredited for prior existing learning. So I'm hopefully due to start my licentiate in the, I say in the new year, we're in the new year, so I should be starting my licentiate right now, but I'm struggling a little bit to get time to do everything for myself. Yeah, so basically my journey, has just, it's been a long one. Nowadays, I don't think of myself really as a dance artist as much. I don't perform that much myself, but I do feel myself as being an educator and a teacher and a choreographer, a producer. Last year, I was given some funding from the English Heritage, and I did a project with my students alongside 3 of Parvati Rajmani's students from Odissi and 5 of Urja Thakur's students from Kartak, and we did a dance piece to Yudi Menuhin and Ravi Shankar's Swarakakali, and that was my first funding ever, so that was really great. I loved that project, and I'm now sort of working on other projects and things. My students are going through the ISTD exams. I've just got the senior group into the U Dance East competition, so there's so many things happening that I'm loving. What I am finding challenging is balancing with dentistry. So I sold my practice in May of 2021, and I sadly lost my mum in September of the same year, which was another huge blow. But I think for me, losing mum is what gives me the strength to carry on teaching, because this was just as much her dream as it was mine, and had Ma Baba not given us what they gave us, I wouldn't be where I am now. And it's for them, because of them, that I carry on teaching and I carry on dancing. And it's really important to me for that reason as well, that I it's almost honouring their memory. But I do find balancing difficult. After selling the practice, I did a little bit of locuming work. I worked for Bupa for a little while, which I loved. Really nice practice, Bupa Toaster. I'll give them a mention. They're very good. But I'm now working 4 days a week clinically as a special needs dentist again. I've done full circle. So I was a special needs dentist at the start of my career. I had my own practice. I actually won multiple awards for private dentistry, as well as being a judge for the private dentistry awards. So I've done everything. I've literally had every part of my career. I've done maxillofacial, and now I've come full circle, working back with special needs adults and paediatric patients 4 days a week. But I also teach 4 days a week, 4 nights a week. So my day consists of getting up in the morning and leaving home about 7:30 in the morning, get to work, clinical all day, finish work about 5:10, drive home. If I get a chance to come home, then I get a quick drink or something to eat, and then straight out the door to teach again. I have my own studio, which my performance that I'm linking to this journey is done in my studio, but unfortunately my studio is now too small for my students, so I teach most of my classes at a local pavilion, and they're incredibly supportive. It's run by the local Broughton Parish Council in Milton Keynes, so I run out of my 5 classes, I do 4 in there and 1 in here in the studio, and I also do rehearsals on the weekend and things like that. So sometimes I'll come home from work, or I'll be driving home from work, and I'll think, I can't do this, I'm really tired, I can't teach. And then I'll get home and I'll go out the door, and the minute I see the girls, the minute I see the students, and they're like, hi auntie, what are we doing today auntie? Namaskaram auntie, and they do their namaskaram and they start dancing. All of that stress that I had driving home thinking I cannot teach, I'm too tired, goes. I don't know, I just find the energy to just teach those girls. And then at the end of class, they all get a sticker. They've always got a sticker. I think that comes from when you go to the dentist, you get a sticker. So when you come to my class, you get a sticker. And I'm always challenged as to finding new stickers for them. At the moment, we've got scented stickers. I think they now want to have glittery stickers or something. So they always get a sticker if they've been good. And yeah, those smiles in that class just keep me going. And then I get up the next day, go to work and come back and teach again. So it is a challenge. Admittedly, my daughter, Ishani, who still dances with me, and she partners me, and she's actually partners with Ananya, my first ever student. She's at university now, so it's a little bit easier. I've just got one child at home, my son, who is not into dance, sadly. He did try, but very much into drama and theatre and acting and singing. He's a really good singer. He's got a great voice. You know, they keep me going as well, and they support me. You know, they know Mummy's got to go out and teach. They know that I'm there for them when they need me, and I've, you know, got the most, like I said, the most amazing husband. Hiran is also a fitness instructor, so he keeps me fit and healthy for my dance. His classes are grueling. So yeah, basically my journey in dance has just been the most wonderful one. And I don't think I'm responsible for that journey being as wonderful as it is. I think there are a lot of people around me who have made that journey special. In particularly Ma and Baba, my sister Dia. She was always my dance partner when we were younger. She's not only a Bharatanatyam dancer, she's also learned Kathak, and her daughter also dances. And she's a beautiful dancer. And, you know, humongous thanks and respect and love to my Guruji. Without him, you know, there's no way I would be where I am now. And to Auntie Shivshakti. The piece that I've chosen to perform today, Gajavadana, is sung by Auntie Shivshakti. And I get immense happiness dancing to her pieces, to her music. And there's so many others around me. I mean, I can't name everybody that's helped me with my journey, but even locally, like all of the colleagues that we have, so encouraging. Nina Didi, Parvati Rajmane, Urja Thakur, Divya Kasturi, Divya Ramkumar, all, you know, there's just naming just a few people that I, you know, will chat to and talk to. My friend Priya Hema Bhavanidhan from the Bhavan, Bhavna from the Bhavan, you know, they're always there when you want to ask a question. Shalini Akka, they're always there to ask a question, and they're always willing to help. Recently, Usha Rao helped me with some work that I had to do for primary. You know, they're just, the South Asian dance community are amazing. And then having opportunities like this, you know, from Sanjay Ji and Jaimini, you know, it just makes my journey in dance absolutely worthwhile. And so I'm so happy that I'm still dancing, and I hope I'll still be dancing. I think I will still be dancing way past dentistry. I am intending in the next 6 years to 10 years of dropping that drill and taking up dance fully, and I really hope that becomes a reality, because to those that are able to dance all the time, I envy you. I would love to just dance every day, all day, and not have to do dentistry. But unfortunately, at the moment, I've got a few bills that need paying that dentistry helps with. But I definitely will be dancing long past being a dentist. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you guys. I hope I haven't just waffled on too much. And I hope you enjoy my dance piece. Namaskaram.
Gajavadana Karuna Sadana Bye.